Hello everyone, I'm Tim, technician here with Golf Cart Garage. It is Thursday, the 23rd. A little late today, had some technical difficulty. I think we got it worked out. We're going to do some Q&A today. We're going to answer some emails, see if we can help some people out. Let's see what we got here. Question 1 is from Don Aldana. Says, I need help. Got 2 red lights on and off on the charger. The batteries are 1 week old. Do I have a wiring problem? Well, those red lights are going to be specific to the charger manufacturer. They're going to be a fault code, and not all fault codes are going to be the same on every charger. So you're going to need to consult with the charger manufacturer and see what those fault codes mean. It could be a bad charger, but that fault code could be signalizing that. It could say something like call factory, or it could say battery voltage too low. But your particular code, which is the red lights, could mean something. It could mean anything. You just need to check with the charger manufacturer to see. All right, let's see. Question number 2. This is from Craig Jensen. I actually spoke with Craig Jensen today. I had a video call with him today about his issue. He has a 2017 Precedent 48-volt system. The batteries do not stay charged very long. The golf cart surges. Well, like I said, he and I had a video call earlier today, and he took some readings off his batteries. Turns out his batteries was my opinion, is that that's what was causing all of his issues. He knew that he was in need of a battery job. He was just checking just to make sure, and just to make sure that he wanted another opinion. Well, he definitely needs new batteries. Whenever he gets new batteries, it's going to solve all of his issues. Let's see. Question number 3. My LED lights work some of the time. The front driver's side headlight does not come on periodically. Not sure why. Well, if you have an issue with your LED lights, or any lights for that matter, coming on sometimes and then not coming on others, even though you're doing the same thing, I always just turn them on and grab the wiring harness and just see if you can make them go off in different places. Grab the wiring harness at the lights, grab the wiring harness at the other light, grab the wiring harness at the batteries. Just kind of move it around and see if you see any fluctuation in your light pattern, because you obviously have a wire that's becoming disconnected, somewhere in the system. So that's the way that you just got to find the loose connection. Okay. Well, look, question number 4 is from Randy. He has a 2007 Ezgo Gas. Would a faulty voltage regulator keep a cart from cranking? This is what I've seen on voltage regulators. If you have been having trouble before this happened with your battery going dead, then the answer is yes. A faulty voltage regulator can keep the car from cranking, because I have seen them drain the battery so much that the car wouldn't even turn over. So the answer is yes, it can keep the car from cranking. I have seen a voltage regulator where not only would it not charge the battery, they would fail in a way where they would suck power out of the battery as the car is running. So the car is running, battery is being pulled from the battery instead of being charged, and then eventually the battery gets so low that the car starts losing spark and spits and sputters and everything until it finally just goes dead. But you have a dead battery at that time also. So the answer is yes, it could cause a car not to crank. Okay. Let's see, number 5 here. This is from 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗁𝗁. I have a 72-volt tracker off-road EV utility vehicle. I'm looking to change from lead-acid batteries to lithium. Which batteries do you recommend as a replacement? Here at Golf Cart Garage, we sell allied lithium batteries. Now, I take calls all the time, every day, and I have talked to some people that have done the conversion with the allied lithium batteries, and they're very, very happy with their results. I've talked to a lot of people that have gone through the trouble lately of doing the lithium conversion and spent the money, because it is more expensive. But because of the weight savings alone, your cart is going to be like a whole new cart. Now, in your case with the 72 volt EV that you bought, you have more than one choice. Even if you just went with allied, you have more than one choice, because you can get different amp hours. You could build a 72 volt pack that didn't have a lot of amp hours, or you could build a 72 volt pack that had a lot of amp hours that would give you more range. So it just depends on what you want to do. Do you need a lot of range or not, or would you just like the just the convenience of the weight savings? If you really wanted to save weight, you could limit your range a little bit and really save weight, or you could increase your range. It'd weigh a little bit more, but not even close to the lead acid pack that you would be replacing. I was reading on the Allied site just recently about their batteries, and they do recommend using their charger. So Allied is one of the lithium companies that recommends you using their charger. So you might want to look into that, Allied lithium batteries. Okay, let's see here. We're going to go to number 6. This is from 𝗟𝗶𝗂𝗏 I have a Yamaha 2007 G22. My problem sometimes is the cart won't run. If I rock the cart and flutter the accelerator, it will start. Could the problem be the accelerator stop switch? It very well could be the accelerator stop switch. I have replaced several of those. The accelerator stop switch is the device your accelerator is connected to that makes the solenoid click, that makes the starter turn over to crank the motor. So it very well could be that, yes. So let's see, number 7. I have an Ezgo. I have 12 volts going to the ignition coil, but no fire to the plugs. Could it be the coil or the igniter? Well, yes, it definitely could be the coil or the igniter, either one. I can tell you the most common one that we sell the most of is going to be the coil. The one I've seen the most is the coil. The coil gets very hot, with it producing spark, and over the years, that even an electric component can wear out over the years. So yes, it could be the coil or the igniter, because that's really the only two things that are involved in you getting fire anyway. So yes, it's going to be one of those. Let's see here. Question number 8. I just purchased a 2012 Ezgo 36 volt golf cart. I ran it quite a bit, but now I'm not sure that it's taking a charge. After a few hours of charging, the battery level indicator hasn't moved. Is there a chance the indicator is not working? This is what I would do in your case. I would take a voltmeter, handheld voltmeter, plug your charger in, put your voltmeter on your batteries as your charger's plugged in. That's the only surefire way to be able to tell if your charger is actually working. You seem to have a thought that maybe it's not. Well, this would verify that. Like, plug your charger in, plug your voltmeter onto your batteries, any battery you want to, and then go down the line just to make sure that they are slowly increasing in voltage while your charger's running. Then you'd be assured if your charger's working or not. If it's not, then you actually have a charger issue. But that would be a way to determine it. Let's see. This one is from Paul Wilson. All batteries show between 9.1 to 9.5 volts. However, the cart can't pull me up a hill. Cart works fine on flat surfaces. The batteries are between 3 and 4 years old. Okay. Red flag right off the bat on that one. 9 volts, 9.1 volt, an 8 volt battery will not put out that kind of voltage just sitting there unless there's a problem with it. So if all of your batteries are showing that, then you either have a faulty voltmeter, or your batteries are literally toast. And the fact that you're telling me that it won't pull you up hills, it makes me think that there could be something wrong with your batteries. But if it's not on the charger, you're not supposed to be showing 9 volts at all. Not 9 point anything. A fully charged 8 volt battery will show about 8.3 volts, not 9, and not anything, especially not anything over 9. It would have to be on the charger to get those kind of numbers. So the first thing I would do, like I always say, is eliminate batteries as the problem first. Got to eliminate that first, and then we'll move on to your voltmeter. So you might just need a battery. I know that when the internal battery on a voltmeter gets low, it will start giving false readings, and most of the time I've seen them we get too high readings. So it could just be that your 9-volt battery inside your voltmeter is toast. Number 10, I have a 2012 Yamaha Drive electric cart. I'm getting no power to the small wires on the solenoid. Okay. The small wires on the solenoid is the activation circuit of the solenoid. You are supposed to get 12 volts to there if we're talking about, I'm assuming we're talking about a gas car. You're supposed to get 12 volts to the small wires. That makes the solenoid click, which in turn makes the starter turn over. So if you're not getting power to the small post on the solenoid, you need to back up. Where do those two wires that go to from the small post, where do they go? Well, they go to the pedal stop switch. It's the first thing your accelerator pedal is connected to. So the first thing that I would check to make sure it was operating properly would be the pedal stop switch. The pedal stop switch is nothing but an on-off switch, and all golf carts have one. All electric golf carts have, well, even gas carts have one. It can be easily ohmed out with an ohm meter, because all you're looking for is continuity on, continuity off. That's all you're looking for, just to make sure that it's operating. But they can be intermittent also, so you might have to you might want to change it anyway. It's not an expensive part, so it would be a part that you could just switch out in case it's just being intermittent. Let's see. Is distilled water with minerals added for taste okay to add to the batteries? That's got to be a first one there, but I would say that the answer is no, because the purpose of distilled water is because it has no minerals. That's the whole purpose that distilled water is recommended for lead acid batteries, because the minerals is what causes the damage. So no, I would not recommend using distilled water with minerals added, because that's my understanding that the whole purpose of using distilled water is that you're not supposed to use minerals. So let's see here. Number 12. 97 Club Car DS is not moving forward or reverse. And the reverse switch is hot to touch. Well, I can tell you this, in an electric cart, the heat in a cable or heat in your main power wires, that's the enemy. That means something's wrong. And not just a warm. Warm is okay, but if you got some things or areas that are getting hot to the touch, there is definitely something wrong. So if you're getting hot wires coming in and out of your forward and reverse switch, then I would suspect that entire forward and reverse assembly needs to get replaced. You must be talking about a series cart here, because if it was just a push button forward and reverse switch, it wouldn't be heating up. So you must be the mechanical forward and reverse switch what you're talking about. If you're getting heat in that area, then there's no doubt about it. You need to look into that and most likely replace the entire assembly. Let's see, looks like we have a live chat question from Kurt Bauer. About 3 months ago, I purchased new batteries from a 36-volt club car, and I use the car once every 10 days, after which I charge the car every time I use it. Will this hurt the battery life? Well, no, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt the battery life, especially if you got new batteries. And the main thing is you want to keep in mind is that your batteries like to be fully charged. Golf cart batteries in general, lead acid, deep cycle lead acid batteries, they would rather be fully charged than not. So charge your cart as often as you want to. It's depending on your charger. I mean, I'm assuming that you don't have one of those old timer chargers. I mean, I'd rather you not be using that. I'd rather you use a smart charger, or just a charger that will shut off on its own. And if you're using it as often as you want, because like I said, they would rather be fully charged. So whenever you get through with it for the day, but if obviously you don't need to charge it if you didn't use it. So whenever you get through with it, just charge it back up with an automatic charger that shuts off. You'll be good to go. Let's see here. This question is from Al Miller. I recently installed a new street legal kit. All works well, but I can't use my parking brake as the brake lights just stay on the entire time. Now, you need to check and make sure, because the street legal kits that I am familiar with, obviously when you set the parking brake, the brake lights do come on, but there's a timer delay that will let them go off after a certain amount of time. So you need to wait and see if yours is exceeding the amount of time, or you need to find out how long your timer delay is supposed to be set for, if it has one. If it doesn't, it doesn't make sense, because they'll stay on all the time if it doesn't have some type of delay timer on there. So you need to check into that and see if yours does have the timer delay, if the timer delay is faulty, and how long the timer delay actually is set for. Okay, let's see. Question number 14. My charger has continuously started cycling when trying to charge the batteries. When inserting the round receptacle, the charger will click, the meter will go up to around 5 and then turn off. Okay, I need to know a little bit more about your car, because I need to know if we're talking about a onboard computer car with an onboard computer, or are we talking about a regular battery pack with a transformer type charger, or what are we talking about there? If we're talking about an onboard computer car, like a club car, 48-volt club car, then you very well could have an onboard computer issue. Your onboard computer is the device that actually tells your charger what to do. So they could be telling your charger to cycle on and off, or it could be doing all kinds of stuff. So yes, it would be a good idea for me to know that before I even answer that question. If it's a regular cart, then you could have a charger issue, and that doesn't have an onboard computer. If it's a cart that does not have an onboard computer, it could be a charger issue. So let's see here. Okay, let's see. Question 15. How do I turn the governor up on my 94 club car? Well, obviously, there is a way to do that, but I do not recommend doing that. I don't recommend turning the governor up. You really need to get somebody that knows what they're doing when they're tampering with the governor, because what will happen, generally, what I have seen people turn the governor up, and what it does speed the car up on top end, but it affects their slow speed so much that it makes the car almost undrivable at slow speed. So it's kind of a situation where I do not recommend messing with the governor. If you still need more speed, why not go ahead and put some gears in the rear end, put a higher gear ratio set of gears in the rear end. You'll get your more speed, and you still have your governor. You still have your governor in place, but your cart will be faster because it's a different gear ratio. So that would be how I would recommend. Let's see. Question 16 is, I'm having issue with thermal cutback according to the diagnostic code. It's a 4-seat cart and has 20-inch tires and a lift. I was told that I should replace my stock controller. Can you give me some guidance on the right size controller, and if I need to do any other upgrades like wires, solenoids, etc.? And this car he's talking about is a 36-volt electric Ezgo PDS. The answer to your question is yes, definitely. You need to change your controller. Especially if you're getting the thermal cutback code, PDS cars, believe it or not, 36-volt PDS cars, let me be specific, they really don't like taller tires and lift kits. I know a lot of people have them, and as long as you ride around in flat ground neighborhoods, everything's probably going to be fine. You're probably not going to have a trouble. But whenever you put taller tires, lift kits, 4 people, start going in the woods, start trail riding and everything, that stock controller is going to heat up real quick, and you're going to need another controller. And eventually down the road, you may even want to get another motor too. But change your controller first, and you'll be fine. It will stop doing thermal cutback. You can ride around. If you need more speed or more power after that, then you can put a motor in conjunction with it. I would recommend, if you're going to change the controller, and I think 𝗟𝗏𝗏 recommends it also, they recommend a heavy duty solenoid, because you might start pulling more amps than you normally did before you change that controller. So I would recommend a new solenoid. I would recommend a new controller. I would recommend going with a little bit larger cables, like your stock cables are 6-gauge, but since your car is lifted with taller tires, and I'd recommend going with at least 4-gauge cables, a little bit bigger. But remember what I said earlier in this stream is that in an electric golf cart, heat is the enemy. So anytime you have a heat issue building up anywhere in your system, there's a problem there. So once you get the controller in place, you put you some new cables on, drive the cart. It's not going to thermal cut back on you anymore. Drive it around, and then stop occasionally and just feel for heat, and all your cable connections just feel all around for heat. Well, the place that's getting the hottest, that's going to be your next weak point. It might be your motor. That's what I'm saying. Depending on how you're using your cart, your next weak point may be your motor. So that's why I'm saying a controller and in conjunction with a new motor would help you out a lot. Let's see here. I think that is going to be all for today. That is all the questions we have for today. We have had a couple of questions here, a couple of live chat questions on YouTube, I see. Let's see, it's from Jorge. Output shaft bearing and bearing seats. Seems like I need to replace them. Makes terrible noise when driving. Okay, well, I'll tell you, if any, the bearing in the rear end of an electric car that makes the most noise is the motor bearing. The motor, your motor in an electric car, there's a big bearing inside there, just one bearing. If you take that bearing out and roll it in your hands, it should be silky smooth. You shouldn't feel anything. If you feel the least amount of grit in that bearing, you would be amazed at the amount of noise that can create. Just the least amount of roughness in that bearing. They can make a really big noise. Let's see. That's a terrible noise. Yep, that looks like about it. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'll be back next week. We'll do another stream, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm Tim with Golf Cart Garage, and I'll see you next week.